Hey lovelies! When it comes to dinner, we all know we spend a lot of time thinking about the main event. But today I want to show you 5 delicious ways to step up your side dish game that you may not have thought of. All of these recipes are quick and easy, but also really delicious and a great way to get more vegetables into your life. I'm going to start today by showing you my honey glazed carrots. If you find you have trouble getting your kids to eat their veggies, these might just be the answer. They all start with some butter in a skillet. If you don't want to use butter in this recipe, you always have the option to swap in a little bit of oil instead, but I think butter always adds a ton of flavor, so I really like to go for it. Once our butter is nice and melted, we can pile in our carrots. So I've got 4 large carrots here that I have peeled and sliced. You could also use baby carrots in this recipe. I recommend cutting them in half so they cook a little bit faster. After all, when it comes to weeknight cooking, speed is everything. And then to help them cook even faster, we are just going to pop a lid on. And just a few short minutes later, you'll have nice steaming carrots. The best part about cooking carrots is that they actually tend to sweeten up during the cooking process. At this point, we are going to add our honey to the pan. Now, if you wanted to do this with some maple syrup, that would also be really, really tasty, but I always think honey and carrots are a match made in heaven. I'm also going to add a teaspoon of fresh thyme leaves to this, which I absolutely love. It's a little bit of sweet and a little bit of savory happening here. I'm gonna hit this with some salt and pepper, and I will just let this cook away for another, say 4 or 5 minutes, or just until everything has reduced and become nice and syrupy and delicious. Did I say quick and easy side dishes? I meant it, guys. I consider these carrots to be Bugs Bunny approved, guaranteed to be enjoyed by adults and kids alike. For my next side, I have got a really simple way to make steamed broccoli sing. And of course, it all starts by steaming your broccoli. So I've got a steamer basket over about 1 inch of boiling water, and I'm going to lightly steam my broccoli until it becomes bright green and is just tender. One of the secrets to actually enjoying broccoli is to not overcook it, because the moment you overcook it, you release a ton of sulfur flavor and it is not delicious. You want to make sure you stop cooking it as soon as it is nice and bright green. While my broccoli is steaming away, I'm going to turn my attention to a really simple lemon garlic dressing, which starts with a little bit of olive oil in a bowl. To that, I'm adding the zest and juice of 1 lemon. And then to make this even yummier, we are going to go ahead and add some garlic to it. Now, it's really important in this recipe to grate your garlic as opposed to mincing it. Otherwise, what you're gonna end up with is a lot of raw garlic chunks in your broccoli. We'll finish this with some salt and pepper. Give it a good whisk, and it is ready to be drizzled all over our gorgeous steamed broccoli. It's the perfect accompaniment to a chicken or a fish dish, kind of like a salad, but a whole lot more satisfying. This dressing really puts the rock in broccoli. Speaking of satisfying, our next side is one you're not going to be able to get enough of. They're my garlic Parmesan roasted potatoes, so you know they're going to be good. I have got some red potatoes. Now, these are baby red potatoes. I've just cut them in half. If you can't find baby potatoes, just buy red skin potatoes, give them a good scrub, and then chop them up. I'm going to hit these with a good helping of olive oil to help them roast up and get nice and golden. And then we're going to add in a ton of flavor. So I've got some garlic powder headed in here, some dried thyme, some dried basil, and some dried oregano. I like using dried spices and herbs when I'm roasting something in the oven. That way they don't burn the way that fresh herbs can. Of course, we'll finish these off with a really good helping of salt and pepper. Now that we've got these nicely seasoned, let's go ahead and toss them until they're well coated. You can see why I prefer to do this in a bowl instead of right in the pan. Makes a lot less mess this way. And I'm simply going to transfer this onto a parchment-lined baking sheet, spread them out, and then we'll get them into the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 minutes or until they're nice and tender and have started to get golden. At that point, you can remove them from the oven and top them with a whole heaping helping of freshly grated Parmesan. There is no substitute for freshly grated Parmesan in a recipe like this. We'll get these back in the oven for another 6 to 8 minutes or until the Parmesan is nice and melted. And then if you want to make them extra crispy, put them under the broiler for another 2 to 3 minutes until they are totally golden. We'll finish these off with a whole handful of freshly chopped parsley, and they are ready to be devoured. These are a great accompaniment to a hearty chicken or beef dish, or I could eat them all on their own. Next, I'm sharing what is admittedly my all-time favorite side dish. It's so good, it could actually be a main dish as far as I'm concerned. It's my sauteed mushrooms and spinach with a little bit of goat cheese as a finish. It all starts with my handy dandy cast iron skillet. You all know how much I love my cast iron skillet. And I'm just going to get some butter into the pan and let it melt away. To that, I am adding another one of my favorite things, some minced garlic. As soon as that garlic is nice and fragrant, after about 30 seconds, we can go ahead and get some mushrooms into the pan. I'm using sliced cremini mushrooms here, but white button mushrooms would definitely do as well. You can slice them, quarter them, or leave them whole. It is all up to you. We'll cook them up with a good helping of salt and pepper until they release all of their moisture and start to become nice and soft and golden. And then for our final step, we will stir in our spinach. I love cooking spinach like this because a lot of spinach becomes a little spinach very quickly as it wilts down. And as soon as that spinach is wilted, this is ready to be served. Now, you can serve it just as it is, but if you want to take it right over the top, might I suggest some crumbled goat cheese? Trust me, your family might not even bother with the main dish when this side dish is around. Finally, for something a little bit different, we are making some Parmesan crusted zucchini. For this recipe, I am starting with some zucchini that I've cut into spears, and I'm just going to use a pastry brush to brush on a little bit of olive oil. Then I'll season my zucchini with some salt and some pepper and some Italian seasoning. Zucchini is pretty flavorless all on its own, so you don't have to be afraid to really go for it with your seasonings. Speaking of great flavor, the real star of this show is some freshly grated Parmesan once again. What you want to do is make sure that your zucchini is pressed into the Parmesan so you get a nice crust happening. Then we can just arrange this on a baking rack over a parchment-lined baking sheet and get them into the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit until they are nice and golden. As soon as they're ready, you can get them out of the oven and serve them immediately with a little bit of freshly chopped parsley. I love dipping these in a little marinara sauce, but of course you can serve them however you like. I hope you'll give all 5 of these awesome ideas a try. If you do, be sure to tweet me, Instagram me, or Facebook me a photo, because I always love seeing your kitchen creations. Keep in mind that our brand new website is finally live and is packed with amazing recipes, including these. I will link them in the description box below, and I hope you'll check them out. And finally, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because there is lots more deliciousness where this came from.